Okay, I'd like to shoot this little video about all the fake stuff that's in all museums. So here's a listing you can do on yourself on Google of all the fake manufacturers of dinosaur bones. So check it out. And there you go. So here we go. These are all fake. They're just stuff they manufactured. There's hardly any real, total, complete skeletons. They make stuff up all the time. And then let's go over here. None of these are real either. The very first dinosaur, the word dinosaur didn't exist until, I believe, 1848. Before that, in the Bible, they were called dragons. But the first one that they called a dinosaur was an iguanodon, and it had a bone that ended up being a thumb bone, but they made it a horn on its nose, so they figured out it actually was a thumb bone. So there's actually, like, all these things are manufactured. They're not real bones. They're just casts. Even this thing here, they're saying it's a fossil. Touch the fossil. It's plastic. This thing is plastic. It's not even real. So here's the other big boy dinosaurs, and they've got music to make it sound impressive, and these look impressive. But you can tell the way the metal goes straight into them. These are all fake. All fake. A little story about the most complete dinosaur ever found. The most complete T-Rex ever found was Sue. And she was seized from the Dakotas by the FBI. Now, they gave out a reason why they said it was on federal land, blah, blah, blah. But I think the real reason that the FBI are just foot soldiers. They're not even, there is no justice with the FBI anymore. But there's been discoveries of soft dinosaur tissue. Mark Armitage and even Jack Horner, the world's probably most well-known paleontologist, admit that they found soft dinosaur tissue inside these bones. And they found an actual, it's not viable, but it's still recognizable T-Rex blood cells. I believe the reason they seized Sue was because since it was the most complete skeleton, it was probably one of the last ones to die, and it probably had the freshest cells in it. But they always want to hide God with their evolution, and they're praying to the monkey god. If you believe in evolution, I don't know how much help I could be of you, because you can't, if you believe you came from rain on rocks, a probiotic soup, how can you trust your own thinking? Another thing that they fake a lot of is the geologic column. So here we go. They're saying this one's thousands of years old. So remember, they use circular reasoning for these geologic columns. So this is 1,000-a-year geologic column, but we can still use this as an example. So here's a supposed mastodon skeleton that was buried between 12 and 14,500 years ago. So they're saying this span where the skull is 2,500 years old. Well, common sense will tell you nothing is going to stay intact that long and be buried. It's going to be torn up by animals. It has to be buried rapidly through rapid deposition, aka the Noahic flood. Now, there was an explosion at Mount St. Helens, and it created a canyon in layers. And it only took weeks for this canyon to develop. And the only reason that, you know, a couple hundred years from now that kids aren't going to be told that it took millions of years to develop is somebody went in there with a camera both before and after and showed this. So you're telling me this skeleton, this skull stayed intact for 2,500 years? No, it would have gotten smashed, crushed. And let's go to the big boy geologic column. So this one is the millions of years of time. Now, same thing here. So this skeleton, this skull stayed there for 5 million years. No, it got buried rapidly. And there's plenty of examples all throughout the supposed geologic column of trees that are petrified that go through a million years. Well, common sense will tell you that a tree doesn't stand upright, that it decays. All these depositions were rapid from the Noahic flood. Look up Trey Smith. He does professional films, not just like me with my camera here. Ken Ham, Kent Hovind. There's plenty of evidence of the Noahic flood, and all fossils were done fast, and the geologic column is a rubber ruler. It's called circular reasoning, so the fossils are dated by the layers they're in, and the layers are dated by the fossils. All the other ways of dating stuff, such as radioactive carbon dating, are only good for about 55,000 years. They once dated a Nixon ad for him, a pen for when he ran for president, is 35,000 years old, and it was from like 1968. So, yes, radioactive carbon, potassium, argon, lead to uranium is absolute in a laboratory, but there's water, air, stuff's moving around. And water washes uranium salts both in and out. So you got a rubber ruler with a circular reasoning. And the dating things, like I said, they're absolute in a lab, but in the real world there's water moving around, there's all kinds of stuff happening. So anyway, check out those big three there: Trey Smith, Kent Hovind, and Ken Ham. Thank you, and check me out on timosplace.com. Like and subscribe if you would. Thanks, bye.